Good morning, Facebooklandia. Phoenix here with another episode of Behind the Mask. This is episode 18. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, this is my social experiment in showing up, expressing vulnerably, raw, unpolished, to support me and others to really listen to our vulnerabilities, to allow them to be become our gifts. So yeah, today's episode, I'd like to talk about the nature of mind, nature of my mind, which is most likely similar in nature to anyone's mind. I'm feeling pretty battered today. I've been on some pretty deep journeys this week, internally, in particular last night, with a dear sister who I have a feeling we're going to do an extra episode this week on some of the insights that came through during our journey together last night. But for me, what I'd like to share right now is, what has been made really apparent to me lately, in particular, more so last night when I was kind of had my magnifying glass in there, is the wild mind. Like, it's such a wild place in here, probably a wild place in there, and I've been on this spiritual quest for most of my adult life and sitting in lots of meditations and working with embodiment and plant medicines and really cultivating so many tools for really harnessing my own awareness and becoming more and more integrated in all my parts, calling all parts of myself back into unity, inner unity. And when I take the moment to go in, with that magnifying glass, like I did last night, really began to see so many areas in which my mind kind of pulls me in every which direction. And yeah, like the parts of me that judge the pulling, the easy to be distracted part of myself. Like, it's so easy to get distracted, so easy to kind of like, like seeing all the shiny things, seeing all of the lights and all of the news and all of the information that's constantly being like coming at us, coming at me. And like, where to stand inside of that, how to stand inside of that with awareness, with presence, with attention, in my center, without giving my center away, without giving my attention away unconsciously. Yeah, because I'm really, I'm really, really interested in learning how to wield my attention and my presence to create reality. Um, I'm a really firm believer that we're weaving this reality, that I'm weaving this reality, that I'm the dreamer waking up inside of the dream, and 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 I want to learn to become masterful of wielding that capacity to dream awake. And the more and more I kind of find a deeper conviction, a deeper commitment to becoming masterful in dreaming awake and wielding my attention towards creating a reality that's in alignment with my heart and my soul, the more I'm seeing all of the places and all of the ways in which my energy and attention and my mind gets like pulled out of my center. And yeah, last night was no different. It was like an amplification of that. And I could witness myself like in the moment as like my mind is unraveling, like also witnessing the part of me that's witnessing, and judging, like, judging myself for the things I'm thinking about, or judging myself for where the attention is going, and like, why isn't it right here, and again, like, it's all the gift to kind of see the nature of my mind and how it just has that capacity to run wild, and like, how do I choose to kind of tend to, um, the wildness. Yeah, like a fire needs tending or it will become wild and burn shit, and get out of control. And that fine line between like controlling and surrendering, controlling and surrendering, and where does one stand in the center of that? It's like being a witness, being in surrender, though also kind of being a steward and a caretaker and a tender of the wild mind. I mean, like, oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Like, okay, daydreaming, you've kind of gone down that rabbit hole for a while. You kind of unraveled in that direction for a while. Let's like rein you in, mind, and bring you back here into the center, like back here into present awareness, present moment, because I find the more and more time I spend outside of my present moment, the less and less, power and strength I have to direct that presence and attention towards creating something that is more deeply aligned with my heart's vision, with my soul's prayer. And so this is the practice. This is the practice. This is why we practice meditation. This is why we practice embodiment. This is why we sit with the teachers, sit with the plants, sit with the earth, like witness, observe, watch. And it's not easy. It takes discipline. It takes willingness. It takes courage to sit in the discomfort of the unraveling and the unknown. Like, the mind just wants to know what is going on, what's happening, like, what can I sink my teeth into, what can I grasp onto. And actually, there is no holding on. Like, this river is flowing, it's moving, it's growing, it's like on its course towards its destination, and I don't know where it's going. And what I realized last night, well, I wouldn't say realized for the first time, but what I continued to like remind myself as my mind was unraveling is like, I don't need to know. I don't need to know. I don't need to know. Like, my mind I can spend hours, days projecting into the future, projecting into the unknown, which has its beauty and has its benefits of visioning and dreaming, and kind of what is it that I'm choosing to manifest, or kind of where am I choosing to cast my arrow of intention. And, like, also staying present and aware to this moment, to this place that I'm standing in right now, without like projecting myself too far. It's like it's the both end. It's kind of casting the arrow from this place of centeredness, and then trusting the arrow to go where it needs to go, and allowing the journey to take care of the details. It's like we just had I just completed my embodied alchemy 6-week course on embodying the elements, and working with the body, and receiving the information that the elements of nature have to teach us. And the final class, which is an integration class, it's called the ripple effect. And hey, Sarah, just talking about us. It's called the ripple effect. And for me, that it's like, when we throw the stone into the water, it's like I'm standing here, say, for example, at the shore in my center, casting the intention out into the water, and then from that space, there's these like ripples, that begin to move outwards from this place, this center, casting my intention, and then moving out into the world, touching whoever, whatever. And it's like, where do I choose to stand inside of myself? Who do I choose to be a stand for? What do I choose to be a stand for? Where do I choose to give my attention? Where am I giving my power to? Where am I giving my focus to? And, you know, hopefully I'll get on another episode with Lucine in the next day or two to kind of unpack where we went last night a little bit more, though, just to kind of touch on it. It's like, right now in the world, there's just so much that is kind of demanding our attention. And, you know, it's like we are consensually giving our attention and our power over to other forces outside of ourselves, whether that's like the media or what's going on with COVID or the restrictions or, pick any of the attention kind of grabbing um, ideas that are out there, or the energies that are like drawing there, vying for our attention. Nothing wrong with that. It's just what's happening, and like what I realize is that all of the all of the forces outside of myself that are kind of drawing on my attention are literally kind of that's what it's designed for, and we particularly last night really dove into fear a lot, and how like the fear that's so prevalent, I can feel it here in my body, I can see it all around me in the world, and in particular in Melbourne and in Australia right now with all of the restrictions. It's like this kind of unnamed, like, there's so much fear, there's so much terror, there's so much like, I don't know what's going to happen, all this unknown, and I think fear has a lot of information. Not even think, I know that fear has a lot of information to provide each and every one of us. Though it's like when we externalize and give our attention to the things that we perceive as being scary or fearful, it's like we're literally giving our attention over. And therefore, the attention is no longer here. So we can't necessarily listen to what is truly alive and truly aligned inside of us. We can't necessarily hear what the very next step is. It's kind of like we're like deer in headlights. I don't know which way to go. I don't know how to go forward. And yeah, that's not a game that I want to play anymore. I don't want to I do not consent to giving my attention over to any outside force of myself. I do not consent to giving my power or my center over to any externalized, like, fear inducing or fear kind of extracting energies, for lack of a better word. It's like, how do I actually allow the fear of the unknown that I'm feeling? And I know most of us, we're human on a planet right now that is in such transition. Most of us are feeling some level of fear. How do I actually allow that fear to open me, to awaken me, to enliven me, to like open my senses so that I can actually wield my attention in a direction that is aligned with my heart and my soul's purpose. How do I, rather than allowing, like giving my attention away and letting some outside forces dictate my reality, create the reality, create a reality for me, which in my particular opinion at the moment is quite nightmarish. How do I like draw in that fear, like really feel that fear, really move it through myself, like really give myself permission to allow that fear to move through me rather than freeze me, keep me stuck, and allow it to wake me up, wake me up, wake me up to the reality that I'm actually I'm co-creating this reality. I'm weaving a dream, a collective dream with all of the other beings on this planet. And I want to kind of have my senses about me. I want to be able to like tune in deeply and like wield my attention, my presence, my energy, my intuition in a way that supports life. Not in a way that denies or kind of suppresses life, I want to wield my attention, my energy, and my power to support life and to support more life and to support more life and to support more life. And so that's what's been informing me lately. Like there's so much more I want to say on fear. I'm going to just leave that as part 2 because like I said, I want to like Lucine and I last night we really unpacked it. Um and my housemate Stacia and Garo, like, yeah, there's a lot here and I'd love to share. And I feel like I'm still digesting a lot of it, and distilling it inside of myself. Um, so I'm going to leave that as part 2, though. For now, yeah, it's like this nature of the mind that, like, is so desperately seeking to control, so desperately seeking to understand. And I actually don't think there is any way for us to understand. I really don't even think there's a need for us to understand. Like, we can try to understand, though it's all just like an emergent experience. It's all an emergent, like the reality is like emerging in every moment. So, like, why not just harness my attention, harness my awareness, and be present and watch it unfold right before me, rather than kind of being over there, like all the way in the future, all the way, and they're like, I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, yeah, none of us know what's gonna happen. So why don't we just breathe, surrender into like a deeper embodied knowing that there is something unfolding that we don't understand, that we don't need to understand, and focus on kind of reconnecting, reattuning, remembering the wisdom that's inside of us, and the inspiration and the information and the guidance that is available to us when our presence, attention, and awareness is right here with me, with you in this moment. And, you know, stay kind. Stay kind to oneself when the mind just like decides to go on like a freaking wild adventure. How to just be kind to myself. Oh, then, like, like the mind just went off for like 20 minutes down some rabbit hole of like insanity. And there I was with it, like my presence and attention totally like traveled with it, you know? And then it's like I become aware and I witness it, observe it. And so, my first kind of, programming is to kind of judge it, beat it with a stick, tame yourself. Why are you going down that road? So actually, it's like, oh, there you go, darling. Come on back. Come on back. Like wild kids, I used to be a school teacher, and it's like when we would go out into the bush, I had to kind of track all the kids. And if they'd go beyond like where I could see them or beyond like where they could hear my voice, it'd be like, oh, come back a little closer. So how do I treat the wild unravelings of my mind with love and kindness and, yeah, forgiveness, even when it goes down somewhere that is like, oh, if anything, like allowing the discomfort to inform me, again, to deepen my loving awareness, to cultivate more loving awareness for all parts of myself, loving awareness for the nature of my mind, loving awareness for the experiences or the reflections that induce fear, that draw my attention out. And if the more and more loving awareness I can cultivate, the more presence and attention I also cultivate, so that I can make a conscious choice where I choose to wield that energy. because, you know, where my attention goes, my energy flows. This is like, kind of age old spiritual new age kind of adage, meme, whatever you want to call it, like where our attention goes, our energy flows. And so, am I placing my attention on all the shit things that are happening? Or am I choosing to place my attention like where the grace already is, like where things are already in flow, so that my attention will keep moving towards in flow? Or do I choose to place my attention where there's all the restrictions and all of the blockages and all of the discomfort and all of the judgment and all of the shame and all of the blame? If that's the only place I'm pointing my attention, that's like where all of my energy is going to go. So it's this dance and cultivating more and more and more loving awareness, observation, witnessing, self-compassion, kindness, forgiveness, and just continuing to bring myself back. I kind of consider it, it's like I'm like sealing up the leaks of the river, so that my energy is not like leaking everywhere. It's kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, how can I lovingly, oh yeah, there's a leak. Oh, okay, come here, let's see where this is taking, and oh, okay, let's bring it back and let's seal this up so we can keep flowing in the direction of our heart's dreams and visions. Yeah, because like I said already, I firmly believe we're creating this reality. And so, how do we choose? Like, what do we choose to create? Do we choose to perpetuate a nightmare? Or do we choose to dream in a reality that's for life? For life, in support of life. You, me, every single being on this planet. That's what I'm interested in. Really, really interested in dreaming a reality that is for life and all my relations. Yeah, so it's a bit of the nature of my mind in this moment. Yeah, I'm going to keep on digesting, integrating, moving with, working with, loving with, cultivating more and more loving awareness.